Hello, I'm Noel. This is Antonia from Boxtail Soup Theatre Company, and this is another one of our box tail scoops. It's like a well-oiled machine. I love it. So, yeah, we're going to tell you what we've been up to this week.
Yes, it's an update really from next week. Next week? Oh dear, that shows how long a week it's been. Last week. We've been doing very long days this week actually. It's sort of at this stage, you're very much at the point where you're really pushing through and trying to get as much done before we've got a rehearsal week, hopefully at the beginning of the week of the 23rd of November. So we're trying to get as much done as we can before that point. So it's been a lot of long days this week, but we have done some good work. So I've been carrying on with the costumes. As I said last week, I think at the end of the vlog, I was going to be starting on the puppets costumes this week. So I have, as you can see, I think they're in shot. They are in shot.
Just about, yeah.
So I started with the girls first. In fact, I started with Fanny, Scrooge's little sister, who appears during the sequence where Scrooge is in the Christmas past. So this is her. I wanted to give her a nice little girl's dress. I've had some excellent assistance with this as well this week, my helper. And it's looking very lovely, really pretty. And the most important thing with these is that they're light in terms of weight, so that they're not too heavy on the hand, but this is some nice light fabric. For the past, we've gone for sort of pastel-y shades, haven't we? So yeah. That's her costume. All she needs now is a popper at the back to hold it together. And then I moved on to Fred's wife, who we've christened Mary because we don't actually think she's got a name in the book. So this is Fred's wife, a little bit more glamorous. They're at a party when we see them, so I've given her a slightly more glamorous dress. I adapted a shirt into a dress, so I had to kind of take it in. I had to dart it here, as you can see, and then I added a gathered skirt with another piece of fabric. Added a piece of lace to make a sort of V-neck lace collar. This is kind of the period, that's why I did that. And then she's got this lovely band of the tartan fabric that her husband Fred wears, just to kind of tie them in together.
Yeah, that kind of connects them, doesn't it? Which is lovely.
Yeah, so again, she's ready. She just needs poppering up at the back. It might be that we reduce the length of some of these skirts. We're not quite sure exactly how we're going to do it, but at the moment the weight is pretty good and they look really lovely. So I'm pleased with her.
Absolutely.
So that's Mary, or whatever her name is, Fred's wife. And I'm going to move on to the other character in that party scene, which is during the Ghost of Christmas Present. So with the Ghost of Christmas Present section, we've gone for very Christmassy, bright reds and greens. So that's why she's in nice reds with the bright red belt. Fred will be in his bright red tartan waistcoat, and then Topper, their other friend, I'm going to make his costume today, and that's going to be a lovely green waistcoat to go with the kind of Christmas present theme. Then I also started on the men, and as I explained last week with the mock-up, I've been turning shirts into tailcoats, which is a slightly tricky business, but I think I've been doing all right with them really. So this one's finished, apart from, as you can see, there's a couple of pins keeping them together at the moment because I need to put some poppers in. But it's cheating things, like I was saying before. So this is not an actual full waistcoat, it's just a piece of fabric that's been stitched in there. He's got a nice cravat here, and the shirt at the back, I've got to add the little, the bit, I don't know what it's called actually, the little bit, the sort of loop of fabric that you get at the back. I need to add that just to the finishing touch, sorry, no, but he's got, that's the tailcoat there at the back.
We're getting to know each other.
Yeah, sorry, pop it right in your face. And then the trousers are obviously not real trousers. They are a piece of a full loop of fabric that I've then folded and pleated down the front to make it look like trousers. Brilliant. And he's nice and light as well.
Absolutely brilliant. I love this. I really love it. I think he looks incredibly smart.
Dapper.
Yeah, love the fabric for the waistcoat, love the way you've done the trousers. I think it's brilliant.
So he's going to be appearing during the Ghost of Christmas future, Ghost of Christmas yet to come. So we've gone for these sort of more like muted tones, more greens, dark greys, black, that kind of thing. So that's what he's going to be. I have actually started on some others, and they're just not quite finished yet, but I've made 2 other shirts into tailcoats. And I've got the charity gentleman, who's the guy who you saw as the mock-up last week. He's got a nice reddy coloured waistcoat and some grey trousers again, and then another one with a slightly different colour, but same principle. So I'm nearly there actually. I've made good progress. It's sort of slow going, but yeah, it's good.
There's more over there.
Sorry,
there
there
is. I was
is
just about
one
to say
more.
this.
Yeah, I've also made other things this week as well. One which we're not going to show you yet because we haven't decided whether we want to spoil it or not for the people who are going to come and see the show. But this is for the Ghost of Christmas Past. I'll put it on at the end so you can see it on. It's got these lovely shimmery bits on it that are supposed to look like dripping wax. We wanted her to look like a candle, a kind of candle spirit, because that's what she is described, or he is described as in the book. So that is that one. It's also got dripping wax down the back. Can't really see it quite so well with me holding it up, so I will, like I said, I'll put it on at the end. So there we go. I've also made a costume for Mrs. Cratchit, but that's the one we're kind of not sure whether to show yet, because it's a bit of a spoiler alert for the actual show, because it's got a trick within it, and that took me a little while, but we're really pleased with that one. So we may show, but we're not sure.
And am I right in saying that you've finished all of the human outer costumes?
Pretty much, yes. I need to make Scrooge his waistcoat too. But yeah, pretty much I'm nearly done with those ones.
Yeah, amazing. I have been working on the set, of course. To be honest, I spent most of my time still on this door that's behind us here. As we said before, it's quite complicated because it doesn't have any right angles, so because of the shape of the door itself, because there are two actual doors in it that need to open. They need to have a way of remaining closed, of being sort of locked almost. And then there's a few other tricks and panels that we needed it to do, which just made it a very complicated piece of set to make. I'm basically finished with it now. It needs covering, because we will cover it with papier-mâché. We make them out of foam board. The door is made out of foam board, which is very tough in itself, but it's quite easily knocked or punctured if it gets poked by anything. So when you cover them with papier-mâché, it then means that they take the paint really well when we decorate them, and it also toughens the surface and means that it's actually quite robust then. So because that was so complicated, it's taken me quite a while. I am basically finished with it now, so I've just started as well on building the numerous stands that we're going to need for the show. We need various pieces to hold up bits of set, and then we also need stands for the puppets to live on when they're not actually being used. So I'm going to get on with that today.
There's a hilarious pile of wood over here with all these beautifully cut pieces for the feet of the stand and everything. You can't see it on camera, but it's quite funny. It's very organised. I like it a lot.
Good.
The door looks amazing. You've done an incredible job with that. It's got lots of tricks to it, and they are really tricky to figure out, and it's just brilliant. I'm so thrilled with it. It's even got a bit of a recycled blind on it as well to make panelling and stuff.
Absolutely, as ever, we try and reuse and recycle whatever we can. So there was a blind in the studio that broke, but rather than throwing it away, I've used all of the slats from it to make various pieces of the set. But I'll show you a little bit more of that in a moment at the end.
So yeah, so progress is sometimes feels like it's slow going, but we're doing pretty well. I think we are on track. So that's good.
It's kind of crunch time now, really, isn't it? We just basically have to get on
ahead
and get it done. Yeah.
So there we are. Oh, my stomach grumbled. It's time for a cup of coffee. But thank you very much for watching. Do all the things.
Yeah, in a moment we'll show you close-up of the puppets, and I'll try and show you some of the door. But in the meantime, thank you very much again for watching, especially if you've made it this far. Please do subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, leave us a comment. All of those things help us spread the word and get the video seen by more people. That would be great. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is our door. As you can see, and as I was saying before, it's wider at the top than it is at the bottom, which made it very awkward to make because obviously there's no right angles in it therefore. But I'm pleased with how the frames come out. It's very sturdy, which is great, exactly what we need. And then we've got two doors in here. Hopefully you can see where they're separated, so they'll both open out like that. I can't open them at the moment because although the hinges are actually fixed onto the door, I haven't screwed them into the frame. I've practiced with them, I've tried hanging them to make sure that they work and they move okay, but now I've taken them off in order that we can cover the door and make sure everything else is finished on it before I have to screw them back in again. So I'm going to wait to do that. So I'm afraid I can't show you the doors opening right at the moment. We've got a couple of little handles at the front here which allow the doors to be opened from both sides, and it also has a little bit of dowel in there to lock them together, and what that means is that they won't open accidentally. We're going to also put a lip onto this door over this side, so that this one will always open first. So when this one is closed and locked in with the one on this side, it'll hold them both closed together, so there's no danger of them kind of falling open. And then at the bottom here, and this is part of the reason that the whole thing was so complicated to make, on both sides we've got a panel that opens like this. So there's another set of hinges within on both sides for these little panels at the bottom. So they will both open together. And then at the top, as you may be able to see, obviously there's something funny going on here. We've also got a section that comes down like this, and then these windows open outwards like so, and that's the same on both sides. And that conceals them again there. And the idea is that when it's decorated, so when it's been painted up and when all the decoration's been put on the front, you won't really be able to see these panels or realise necessarily that they're going to open independently of the door. So yeah, that's the door itself. And then you probably can't see really from there, but there's also a separate section around the edge of the frame where there's actually another whole sort of false frame at the front which actually comes away, and we're going to use that for a special little trick for the end of the show. But yeah, that's the door, and that's why it's taken me quite a while to make.